Welcome to the Energy Hour. The Energy Hour is brought to you by Quality Home Improvement, Southern California's premier residential and commercial contractor, making homes and businesses energy efficient, one building at a time.
Hey, Rob, what's going on?
How you doing, Chris?
Hey, today is January 24th.
Wow.
We're here, the end of the month of 2020, and today we're going to be sitting here with a really cool, diversified company called Quality Home Realty.
Nice.
And I have the pleasure to speak to Annette and Patricia. Annette is the owner of the company, and she's been doing it for a month of Sundays, and Patricia is probably doing it for a month of Sundays times 2, and they got a great plethora of knowledge here, and we want to dive into that and let our listeners know what's happening in that business. Because if you think about it, what they do in the real estate industry with finance and stuff really has a lot to do with our business. Wouldn't you agree?
There's a lot of crossover.
A lot of crossover, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of mutually beneficial things between owning a home and the cost to own a home and and so forth. So and finance.
So if you were a smart consumer and you're going to go out and do a bunch of home improvements, and let's just say you're going to do a small solar system, but you're going to do some improvements, why wouldn't you incorporate that with a new loan as well?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I told this to Annette earlier today. Let's do a checkup on our financial picture and see if we can get something better, right, Annette?
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think?
No, I do. If you're at a higher interest rate right now, then you should be able to refinance into a lower interest rate, pull some cash out, do any improvements that you would need to.
Yeah. I have a friend, his interest rate currently is at 6.9%.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's high.
I just saw their eyes light up.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we don't want to do that. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
How much money is he giving away? I mean, that's just a lot of money in 30 years.
That's quite a bit.
He's had his loan for like a year now, and I keep shaking my head, and I'm like, listen, if you don't go over and talk to my friends at Quality Home Realty, you need a lobotomy. You got to get that done as soon as possible.
Well, the thing is, even through all the things that we provide, right, people don't realize that one of our tools is finance. It's one of our biggest tools.
Right.
We may use solar and things to cut your costs, but the actual finance is one of our greatest tools. And that's really important for people, because if you could do that and refi, invest in the property, save some money, and increase the value of your home at the same time, it's a total win all the way around.
So I'm a new customer, and I've got a bunch of toys at home, and I'm kind of fanatic, and I'm not really taking care of my home. But, my wife's kind of pushed me to the curb, and she goes, you better start making this house more energy efficient. So she calls us up, and we kind of give them a spiel. But at the same time, I find out that their interest rate is kind of upside down, and they really haven't. Think about it. When you buy something, you buy it, and you just keep making payments until it's done, right? It's what we're programmed to do as robots. So nobody really knows after the fact. Nobody cares enough to really say, hey, you should go talk to our friends over here. So knowing that, if I came up to you and I brought my friend that was at 6.9%, but, 20 years ago wasn't too bad, but that's 20 years ago.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a better thing to do to refi this guy and get all his home improvements done at the same time? What would you guys do?
Yeah, I would definitely turn them on to, either their banker or a mortgage person that can talk to them about refinancing. I mean, 6.9 is pretty high for this day and age right now. I think they're at 3.5 right now, as low as
3.5
to refi.
Seriously?
So, yes.
Wow.
So that's a lot of monthly savings.
That is, absolutely.
That's beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
Credit unions are also very good to go through because
Yeah.
credit unions tend to have a little bit more room to negotiate on the actual loan costs. But as far as your interest rate, it's the same across the board, whether it's your banker or a mortgage company or a credit union. But I think you could save a little bit more during the loan costs at the end of the day through a credit union.
So if I get this right, when you refinance a home, you normally do it for 30 years.
You can get even a better deal if it's an ARM. Honestly, you can get a 10
I've got 2 arms. Is that what we're talking about here? No?
10-year one arm is great because you can get a lower rate if you go that route. And then, by then, you don't know what the market's going to do. Maybe it even drops even more. And most loans are they don't have prepayment penalties anyway, so
Right.
you can refinance and not worry about that.
That's good.
I like that. So
But-
I can cut out the 30-year guy
Yes.
and go 10 years
Yes.
and just kind of see
Even
what happens.
lower, I think, for even
Really?
lower than 3.5 when they're ARMs.
OMG.
It's an option. They can look at that. Some people like to do it where they don't have to worry about it for 30 years, and just rather go fixed and stay in it for 30 years. I mean, personally, for my situation, I like the ARMs because you just never know. I mean, we may want to move in 10 years or before that,
Right.
and if I can save in the long run.
Yeah.
Ooh, in
I would
10
do
years.
that.
I've been in my house for 33
Wow.
years now.
You're in for the long haul.
They all
aren't
look
you?
at me and
Exactly.
they all look at me and go, "You're kind of dumb," But
You're rare.
I love where I'm at,
Yes.
So I kind of want to stay there. But
But I
you're
think-
right.
I think
Every
what's-
10 years.
I think
huh.
what's important what she's saying is, because this is how we approach families, but we also approach businesses, right? We're not somebody that just goes ahead and provides solar to save money. We're looking at ourselves as business or financial advisors. We're looking at ourselves, if I can save you here, right? Like, why not refinance, take some of that equity, do something that lowers your overall cost again. Your new loan did. Now your energy cost is down. You've increased the value of your home. Why not do those things? It's just kind of smart investing into.
That is kind of smart.
What for most people is the biggest investment they're going to make is going to be their home.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And so that's where we also try to tell people, don't cut corners there. I sometimes see the guy he's got a Mercedes and a Lexus in the driveway, and he's trying to cut corners on his house. I'm like, no, you should have cut corners over there.
Exactly. I'm a car.
I mean, because the house is going to give you a return. The car depreciated the moment the tires left the driveway
That's
of
right.
the dealership. But I like thinking about it as more of a holistically financial move. This saves me money while increasing the value of my home.
And another thing, if you think about it, I read something recently. A friend of mine, she's in like Thousand Oaks, and she was giving me this little blueprint of just stuff on real estate. And if you think about it, if we can help bundle a solar system into a new loan, and maybe they pay it off a car, right? The extra money that they would normally spend on those things, if they put them on the principal part of the loan, it can be reduced exponentially in time, right?
Yeah, in time. And they also can do, when they're thinking about financing, you can get your loan and go by weekly payments. There's servicing companies that
Weekly
can
payments?
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
No.
Bi-weekly. What happens
Yeah.
at the end of the
How
year,
cool.
you end up paying one extra payment
Right.
a year.
And that's one of the
and
things
that will
we've been talking
reduce your
about.
30 to maybe by the time you're done serving that or paying off that loan,
So I
it comes
can-
down to about 26, 25 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, it cuts that.
That's
many
insane.
Out.
That's
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've talked about is I said, what if I can save you a month enough with solar that you can have one, put it in a cookie jar. We've been joking that we're actually going to give people a cookie jar.
Cookie jars.
With
yeah.
cookies. Now, when you eat the cookies, which are probably gone in the first few days, put that extra money you're saving in the cookie jar.
Correct.
Go make one extra payment on your house with that. Don't blow it. I mean,
Smart,
you can
right?
if you want. You want to take a vacation, want to do something, fine. But if you put it on your home, you're cutting the length of that loan, which is just smart, right? Use that money towards something that's good.
It's the same methodology my wife approached me when I paid off her 2005 Honda in 2010. She's been still writing that $150 a month payment to herself,
There you go.
and she sticks it in the cookie
that's
jar.
smart.
Smart. Very
She
smart.
calls it her vacation fund now.
There you
That's
go.
fun.
Right?
Right?
Why not?
So why not do the same thing with a home?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then the extra money can also go to improve other things. I mean,
Exactly.
I jotted down some of the things in home improvement that goes a long way when it comes time to selling your home, for example.
So what are those things?
Yeah,
what
what
do you,
other
what do you,
things?
what do you see
Well-
that helps the value of a house when you resell?
I think that curb appeal, first of all,
Yeah.
is important.
Very big.
It's key.
Definitely.
Houses are for sale, and a lot of people do their search online now. They'll see the pictures,
Right.
but there's no thing like driving by the property.
Oh, right,
So pictures
right,
may
right.
show the highlights of the house,
Sure.
but until you drive in that neighborhood or past that house, you're going to either say, "Oh yeah, I want to go in,"
Right.
or "Ooh, no, that's not what it
I
looks
mean, how many
like."
of us have looked at the stuff online and will do the drive-by, and if the drive-by didn't work, we keep going?
Oh yeah,
That's exactly
Yeah.
Right?
because pictures,
I don't want to live in this neighborhood.
because
you know?
that's-
Pictures don't show everything.
No, and that's the house and neighborhood
Wow.
I'm going to drive up to every day.
Right.
And if that
Exactly.
doesn't feel right, I'm going to keep going.
Exactly.
That's really important.
And along those lines of curb appeal, what stands out the most? The front door, for example.
Yeah.
A garage door. If a garage
Sure.
door is going to be dented or deteriorated, you're going to start wondering, I wonder how it looks inside.
And what else isn't taken care of?
Right,
Interesting.
exactly.
I like that.
The siding of the house.
Sure.
That makes a world of difference. Just a fresh coat of paint outside.
Right.
Makes a world of difference. Doors cost you on the average, $1,000 to maybe $1,500?
Yeah.
And it can be the difference of a buyer coming in to see the house.
No kidding.
inside.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look at my father. My father's 95. He has an older home. He was in construction, so he always kept it up meticulously until, well, he's 95, so he can't anymore. And we're going to sell it. But we're also, through Quality Home Improvement, we've done new cabinets, new floors, new paint, new everything, so that it's moving quality. And the street appeal with the new landscape and everything is going to be something that sells it.
Landscaping,
So
it goes far.
I could have sold it for a lot less, or I could put $20,000 into it and sell it for a lot more.
Right.
And Rob, we're
Interesting.
speaking of renewable, homes and so forth.
Right.
Also along the lines of, saving on your utilities, your water
Right.
bill. How you landscape can go
Yes.
far.
No, absolutely.
Like if you do the desert scape or
Desertscape,
hardscape, that saves you.
Drought type, tolerant type landscapes are really big.
Some artificial turf, maybe.
Artificial turf. My former father-in-law would travel. He's a doctor in Santa Barbara. He travels to South Africa 2-3 times a year. His entire front yard is like drought resistant. If he's not around to water it, it looks the same when he comes back, and it's beautiful. Like, we love succulents and things like that.
Yes.
I mean, they're beautiful, they're ornate, and they can cut your costs down.
Yeah, it sends a message that my utility costs are less than the guy across the street,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's our situation too. My husband loves to landscape, and he does all of our work.
Good
and he
for
did
him.
hardscape.
Uh-huh.
Our neighbor next door probably pays $300 to $400 in water.
Oh,
we
yeah.
pay $90,
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
that's-
absolutely.
Wow.
and we're in the same
Yeah.
neighborhood.
How many times do we walk out of? How many times have I walked out of a house, and probably you too,
Yeah.
where we've done the solar and we've saved them, and I'm walking out and they say, "What can you do for my water now?"
Exactly.
No, exactly, because that
Yeah.
becomes the next big bill for
That's
a lot
right.
of people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Interesting. These are little cool facts to learn that, if you're going to do something right, make it beautiful on the outside, and then, attract your buyers. And then
Well,
if you can,
yeah.
what's more attractive? Knowing that house A, their utility costs. Now, people ask that question to you, right? They go, what are the utility costs in this house approximately, or no?
They do. It depends.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
have
it
your
depends.
conscientious buyer that's thinking already,
Right.
I
Right.
want an energy efficient home. They're definitely. They're in our MLS. They even have now homes that are listed as green homes.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
They have
Green
a special.
homes.
They have
Yeah.
a special spot.
I
just
told
to
you,
list
Rob,
green
here it
homes.
comes.
Well, no, and we have a commercial.
Wow.
We have a commercial customer that for his boss, they're building an 11,000 plus square foot home in Arcadia. And they tore down a $3 million home. They paid $3 million for
Isn't that crazy?
to build and it was 5,600 square feet to build an 11,000 square foot
Wow.
home. But what's interesting is when we looked at the plans, stamped in red on every sheet in a big square was HERS rating required. So it's the whole energy
yeah.
efficiency starting to be
Exactly.
required. We passed into 2020 now, where a basic solar system has to be on the new builds and things like that. So it's interesting to see, because I do think that rating is going to start. Like you buy a house and you go, "Oh, this one's rated very efficient." I think that's going to start to play a bigger part as things go on. People are getting used to electric cars. There's going to be a lot more soon. You know what I mean? We see a lot of that.
Utilities are not cheap.
They
No.
are not.
And when you told me $300 to $400 for water, I'd be making
It's
my
a large
kids take
li-
a shower out when it rains.
Well, like when we look at our DWP bills, they have the combined
Oh,
water,
yeah,
or
it's
Pasadena
horrible.
Municipal. We also see the water, and man, the water bills are quite large as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
that just blows me away.
I like the drought tolerant. I like that landscape. Plus, I like the aesthetic of it coming from architecture. But I think if somebody looks at that turf, the drought tolerant, the solar, you can make your house very efficient and beautiful.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. Some
No.
people say, "Oh, I have to have grass."
Right.
But then you have, like you said, the
Yeah.
artificial turf, or or you can do the dryscape, but add color, pop of color in there.
Color.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Once there's pop
That's-
of color,
That's
And
my,
you've
by
got
the way,
'em.
that's my wife's favorite term, pop of color.
Yes.
Really? I've never heard that
No,
till
no.
now.
If we're,
Bougainvilleas go a long
if
way.
we're doing if we're doing an interior,
They're all over my house.
if we're
Gosh,
doing
I
an
got
interior, it's the one pop of color on the chair, or it's the pillow, or something
Bougainvillea,
like that.
My husband
Yeah.
hated bougainvilleas.
I get attacked by
Yeah.
them all the time. I don't know why. They love me.
They're
Yeah.
thorny.
The thorns, yeah.
He took a bougainvillea out 3 times, and it kept coming back. And I said, you know what? If you can't beat them,
It's
join
meant to
them.
be.
Just leave it.
Yeah,
Now,
it's resilient.
Now he saw the color. It
Beautiful
adds,
colors,
and
too.
it's year round. The color.
Yeah.
So he goes,
Okay.
oh, I see. Okay.
Well, see,
So-
I come from, as Chris knows, I come from commercial architecture. We did courthouses, big stuff, and the counties and the cities and the states and federal government, they weren't just concerned with the cost of the building. They were concerned at how much the building cost them to run every year for the next 50 to 100 years. I think homeowners need to kind of start thinking of the same thing. A little solar on your roof. If you got really bad problems, maybe a whole house fan can help. All the different things we look at to make it efficient, the landscapes we're talking about. Your house can be beautiful and more cost efficient, and then you've got that money to put someplace else. Heck, invest it somewhere.
Right.
Exactly.
Make some money off of it.
Yep. More real estate.
Buy more.
Yeah, there you
buy
go.
more real estate. Put it towards something, but
Exactly.
don't give it to a utility that because every time they mess up, too, from the PG&E, the 18,000 homes gone, to SCE saying that 1,000 of those homes that burned last year were their fault.
Right.
They pass all that cost on to you. Or get off the grid as much as you can. Just have that small connection fee and go solar.
So here's a question, because we are talking about curb appeal.
Right.
Yes.
And aesthetics.
Oh, I know where this is
Okay.
going.
I have heard it before.
Yes.
We drive by a house, and then there's these huge panels
Right.
staring at you.
Yes.
So how can you make that a little more attractive? I mean, yes, it's energy efficient, but you also want it to be aesthetically
Right, right, right.
pleasing to
like
the eye.
we like to paint them now. I'm
No.
just kidding.
Well, I mean,
No, so really, here's the thing. I do find this kind of sounds like a joke, but it's
Yeah,
not.
right?
The higher somebody's bill, the more
What's
beautiful the panel
prettier,
gets. First of all, is as much as we possibly can, we move the panels to someplace that's not on the front. The challenge is if the house is facing south and it's the only good roof, it's going to be on the front. At that point, it just so happens that the panel we use, which is Solaria, the Power XTs, there's not a more beautiful panel. There's a lot of ugly panels out there. These are just a sea of black. You don't see bus bars. You don't see anything that gives any directional. There's no dots on it. There's no lines on it. It's
Super clean.
black. If you do it right, like we just had a customer with a $4.7 million home, and what we put on the front looks more almost like a skylight than solar. If you do it right, it will look good and aesthetically
There it is.
pleasing.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. But I mean, so we use something that has more power and more efficiency and longevity, but just happens, the bonuses, they're as beautiful as you can get. Whenever possible, especially for me, I come from architecture, I'm always looking at aesthetics. So I'm trying to go ahead and minimize the impact and make it look, if we do a single row, right? Is it something that looks more like a skylight than anything like that? And then I've had customers that don't want it on the front, and believe it or not, I've had some that pushed me to put it on the front and said, no, that's a badge of honor because I'm showing my neighbors I'm smart and I'm taking care of the planet. I've had
That's what I would say.
I've had
Are yours
both.
in the front,
I've
or-
had both sides and everything in between.
Yeah. Well, for mine, it depends on, like you said, where the roof slope is.
Right,
That's
right.
going to face the sun the most.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have half of them in the back and half of them, they're in the front, but kind of on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and I just think in my neighborhood, I'm seeing more and more of them go up every day. So
Oh, yeah.
people are just getting used to them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're making
No, I
them
think that's a
smaller,
big.
too.
I think that's a big point. Well, for our panel, the Solaria, it's actually slightly larger than some panels,
Oh,
but we
okay.
use 20% less.
There you go.
So our
yeah.
footprint is going to be smaller, so we're actually using less. It's going to be, but I think something important what you said is people are starting to acclimate to them.
Yes.
They're seeing more and more of them.
now, what about the maintenance? I mean, I have a neighbor behind us that has solar panels. I don't know what company he went with, but I see him up there cleaning them.
Can I interject a little bit more
Yeah.
before we get into the maintenance side
Yeah,
of that?
yeah.
This is like, when you guys do an evaluation on finance, you want to know their debt to income ratio, their
Right.
FICO score, and other things that determine the outcome of where they're headed, like pre-qualifying them for something. The same thing that I like to do in the house that Rob is probably kind of famous for doing as well. we do an audit of where the energy inefficiencies are
Right.
and what we can do from a minimal standpoint to make that house, that electric bill go from $230 all the way down to $100. What can we do with the simplest approach to kind of tackle that? So when we do solar panels, and if they only have a south, east, and west roof, well, if we don't have to put them on the front, which might be south for the aesthetic problem, maybe we can go east and west and do those other efficiency
Right.
repairs
Right.
at the same time to drive to where they don't have to put panels on the front.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Right. And
Yeah.
what
We
don't just
can
throw
you elaborate
spaghetti
on what
again. Well-
other efficiency repairs would be? Windows?
Oh, no,
Or
this is great. I'm glad
Yeah.
you mentioned that. One of the most important things is, as far as I'm concerned, is your attic space.
Yeah.
Your insulation is super important. Think of it this way. Your house is a box. It's a square, right? And heat rises, as we know. And the air conditioning that you put into this box when you're cooling down your home, most air conditioners don't do specific rooms. They do the whole house, unfortunately, at the same time. So if you're not upstairs, it's still cooling upstairs and downstairs at the same time. But the problem is the heat escapes through the attic space. So what we would prefer customers do is to call us up so we can take out all that bad, maybe inappropriate insulation. It's not properly done. It's not adequately done. We'll take it out. We'll seal the top of the deck with foam so the air can't get out. Neither can the heat in the wintertime. And then we'll put the proper amount of insulation in the top. That's the first place to go.
Yeah,
you would be surprised. You can lower your electricity cost by 30% alone by doing that. And then, of course, another thing is, if you got your house was bought in the 80s or 90s and your contractor didn't care what kind of windows he put in, that's the next
Right.
step that I'd
Exactly.
go to.
Yeah.
And then, maybe, once we've done that, maybe we can come back in a month and compare next month's energy consumption versus last year's energy consumption at the same month. So if we see a trend going on, we go, wow, this is going to reduce it by X percentage. And another least expensive thing to do, so you got the attic insulation in place, you've got the windows, something as simple as a whole house fan. I'm telling you,
Yes.
I got one in my little
We
house.
just installed one 2 years ago. too.
OMG. Talking about in the summertime when the sun goes down. And do you have a 2-story house by chance? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah, I do too.
where do you sleep?
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
We put it upstairs.
And either houses are zoned where they have 2 air conditioners, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Yes.
The first thing that my kids would tell me is, hey, Dad, can you turn on the air because it's too hot up here? And I'll laugh at them for a minute. I'll go, no, wait a second. And I'll go to my whole house fan.
Exactly.
I'll crank it on. I'll open a window downstairs. And this super cooled air that's 50s and 60s outside will come in, pressurize the house, push all that hot air out of the attic space in those vents that are on your roof, and then replace it with cooler air. I can take your temperature down 20 degrees in 10 minutes.
Yeah, those whole hall fans.
So you're a believer like me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
I don't have one
yeah.
of those. So
You
I
do?
probably no, I don't. I need one. I need one.
2-story house?
Yes.
Anything with a 2-story house needs one regardless.
Exactly.
It's the best. It's probably one of the best things I've ever installed in my house, and I've done a lot of stuff to it, But a whole house fan, so you get the attic space done where you get better insulation, a whole house fan. And you know what? If you can't afford the windows at that point, start there. Let's get a track record of what's going on, and if I can help you reduce 30-40%, they say 50+% on your electricity bills, that means I got more money to put down on a credit card, to pay off a car, to add to my house payment. That's making it economically more feasible for the customer, and that's the street I drive them down when I get in their minds and we're talking about savings. And then I say, hey, by the way, how's that financial picture looking for you as well? So I know they're going to save money, and then I want them to take that savings and maybe stick it on a 10-1 arm like you talked about, right?
Right.
Get that done. So, Annette, whole house found for you,
Yep. Definitely.
right? You got to get that this summer.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the extra money can go to improving your kitchen. That's another
Right.
thing that is a huge remodel that you could do. That
Cabinets
increases
are
the-
cheap. They're not bad.
Right.
Yeah, no, you can reface the cabinets
Yep,
sometimes,
that's what I
especially
was gonna
older
say.
homes. They're good quality cabinets. They're not made out of particle board if it was built.
We actually
I had one of those.
two of the big things we focused on in my father's house was the kitchen and the bathroom.
Right, kitchens and
and
bathrooms go a long
we're actually
way.
putting new floors and paint through everything.
We had
as
the
well.
old oak,
Uh-huh.
and then the particle board, and then when the kitchen sink sprung a leak, it was destroyed. All of it was gone. It's like it soaked it up and had to be pulled out. I was like, I'm going to kill myself, you know?
Yes.
So we redid the kitchen at the same time. But
The kitchens and bathrooms are a
Kitchens and
big
bathrooms,
plus.
yep.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
I'm finding that outdoor entertaining area, a patio, goes a long way. Families love, especially
go.
living in California.
Sure. Yeah.
They're very energy efficient and they love outdoor entertaining. I mean, we really could entertain year round almost in California.
In California for
Right.
sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
we don't have as much rain and you can be out. Look at today, what a beautiful day is.
So we do these things called Alumawood patios, which we install, and they have like puck lights. They've got LED lights. And the cool thing about Alumawood patio, it's not wood, and you don't have to worry about bugs getting in it in 5 years or the wood cracking. It always looks really cool, and it's a lifetime baked-on enamel. So when you're talking about entertaining outside and you want to do that, you got your ceiling fans going. You know, it's kind of mid-afternoon. You turn the LED lights on. You got the music. Google's playing the music outside.
There you go.
And then now your husband, he's a taco bar guy. You know, he's kind of flipping the tacos and stuff. Outside entertaining is awesome.
It is. Yeah.
I had this old redwood patio, and I built it in redwood because, you know, it's going to last me a million years. That was the ugliest thing I've ever done. Oh, my gosh. 5 years? Oof.
Yeah.
I had a lot of firewood.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
about it.
Well,
and then I
you're
put up one of
dealing
these
with,
guys.
You know, just the weathering and, you know, the dry rot that happens eventually.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You're, you know, it's exposed to the elements outside.
I think what's really cool, though, is I think both of us, one of the things we have in common between your group and ours is we're looking at the things that save money and we're looking at the things that improve the value of your home. And that's where we want people to focus on. We always tell people, whatever we're telling you, if it doesn't work for you, we'll be the first to tell you. We're trying to get them to spend their money in the best way that both saves and produces more money. If it can save you money and increase the value of your home, that's a win for us, right? And it sounds like the same thing for you guys.
Yep. Win-win.
And we try to be just, you know, aesthetics is a big thing, you know, popping a moment back to that. We have some very high-end customers where just how the panel looks is a big deal.
Oh, it is.
You know, some of the houses we just did near UCLA and in LA, and we get some designers and architects that are our customers, so they're very picky like I am. But if you do it right, we kind of address it in a much more deep way than most people. Most companies just throw the panels up. We've seen some designs come from companies, and we're looking at them where they had another quote from someone, and we're like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
First of all, it's not as efficient. By the way, they're not dealing with that shade issue, and aesthetically, there's a much nicer way of doing that. So I think, you know, bigger isn't always better when it comes to these firms because they're very cookie cutter and they don't specialize their attention on one customer. Do you know what I mean? But that's something we spend a lot of time on.
I mean, do you ever see the panels becoming smaller through the years and the designs more sleeker? Maybe even just, I know that they're out there. There's roof material that already has the solar.
Well, you know, let me tell you about that. I think I can enhance upon that. I started in the off-grid industry. And in the off-grid industry, solar panels probably had a wattage of 80 watts. Now each solar panel is like 380 watts to 400 watts.
Yeah.
So it's magnified the strength and, you know, energy efficiencies and stuff like that. You know, making the panel smaller doesn't necessarily mean it's going to last longer. And if you make it into a roofing product, it's going to get hotter up on the roof. So tell me this. When's the last time you've been in your attic?
Honestly?
Probably never.
Yeah.
Well,
They're pretty hot, aren't they?
Yeah, they do
You
get hot.
hear
but-
the stories.
Yeah.
And have you ever been up on your roof with no socks?
Of course not.
Okay. So your roof gets super hot. Figure this out. It's 12 noon. You got the sun coming down. You know, outside it says 97 degrees because we're in SoCal, right?
Right.
And then inside your attic space is cooking because you did not properly do your attic space correctly, like we just talked about.
Ventilate.
So you got 130 degrees there.
Yeah.
You got 97 on the top, and then you got this poor little solar panel that's been embedded into something that looks like a roof shingle.
Right.
So now you've got the problem of thermodynamics. So the hotter it gets, it's like putting a boom box up on the top of your house, turning it on to your favorite radio station, and coming back in 3 hours to see if it's still playing.
You know the other thing. The other thing too is for instance, probably what you're referring to is Elon Musk, what the Tesla's trying to do. They've got a few issues.
Mistake.
Yeah, well, they got a few issues with it. Number one is the lowest cost system's about $100,000 and takes 3 weeks to install. It's a 3-week install.
It's the whole rooftop,
It's the whole. It's the whole roof. So for me right now, the couple things is this: if my roof has a leak, I want my roof to leak. I don't want my solar to leak.
Right.
If my solar has a problem, I don't want that to cause a roof problem. And because what you were talking about, Chris, about the heat, solar stands up off the roof because it needs a standoff.
At least a few inches.
Right? But that 2 inches or so, or 2.5 to 3 inches, is an air gap.
I was insane.
That air gap keeps the panel cooler. Some people say, oh, it's a great hot day today. I'm producing a lot of solar energy. No, solar loves light and cool. The cooler that panel stays, but the brighter it is light-wise, the more it's producing. It doesn't like heat.
Interesting.
So that gap, if you notice the back of a panel is white, that's to also keep it cool. But if you have that little couple-inch gap, that's wonderful because it's also keeping the panel cooler, and it's also it's reflecting energy, the heat, and that creates more production. The problem they're going to have with there's a lot more connections that have to be considered in a roof. Getting in there where I heard in some cases roofs had more than 2,000 connections, where we might have 24. That's just a lot of issues to kind of. I think he doesn't also have the economy of scale, and that's not going to be there for a while. I watched a person that worked for Tesla get their first roof, and he was still charged $120,000, and it took 3 full weeks to put in. I think it's a great idea that's going to have some time before it gets here. I myself, even coming from architecture, I want my panels separate. And while the Solari panels are slightly larger, I'm using 20% less, so my footprint is smaller. But if I got a problem, I can get it right down to which panel's the problem on my phone app. Yeah. And I could say that one, and anybody like us, we could look at it and say, that one has an issue and we can replace it.
You can't do that with the
super simple, and you can't do it with that roof.
Traditional all-roof system.
Yeah.
What if the problem's in the center of that roof?
Well, yeah. How many shingles do you have to remove to get to that? Versus us, we're like, yeah, it's over there. Take that one out and replace it. I think
you make a good point.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think as many things with him, and it's wonderful. He's ahead of his time. That was okay on the cars. I think the roof issue is still. I don't know. I think
fine tuning.
I think it's a decade out before you'd even have the economy of scale to deal with it. But I also do like I don't want my electrical mixed with my water. Or like rain or leaks or things like that. So we've got a great panel, highly efficient. Because the things with a panel, just really quickly, for most people to understand, is it's the power is the wattage. You want to consider that. Efficiency is how efficient is the panel in converting energy. There's a thing called degradation nobody wants to talk about, which is how much it loses in power every year. Our panels lose very little because if it loses a lot, you're back to your utility, right? And it's that warranty. And if you look at those things and then you have a great inverter like what we use, it's just a powerhouse. We like to say set it and forget it, but aesthetically, we've been pulling off some really, and if someone's building a house, we can embed it. You could put your roof, and let's say you got a tile. We can do a substrate of comp, and we can inlay the solar panel.
It looks a little bit more,
yeah, it looks more like a skylight, and there's a little bit, it's still the air gap you need, but like we've got some builders that are building new homes right now. We can really integrate it to where it's gorgeous.
Okay, that's good to know, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we do is we take that into consideration.
Yeah.
As somebody else would just say, yeah, you can fit 42 panels up on your roof.
Yeah.
When do you want to buy them?
Right. And we've seen a lot. I mean, coming from the industry, and I still know people that work at companies out there that I've seen some designs where I look at it and go, why would they do that? I've seen them put stuff not only on the north side of the roof, which works in Hawaii but not here. I've seen them put it on the north side of the roof with major shade issues. And I'm like,
So we feel you.
So those 8 panels over there are literally almost doing you no good. But they made the salesperson a bigger commission because he sold 8 or 10 more panels.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
So what we do is, we design, we do shade analysis, we do everything to make sure that it's going to do. And you know what? We've had great fortune in being so conservative because every one of our systems has overproduced.
Overproduced because they're designed correctly.
And conservatively.
And they've taken the information we've given them seriously.
Yeah.
So adding an extra $100,000 cost to a refi is not cheap, right?
No, it's not.
I mean, if you can do it for cheaper, why wouldn't you just do 30,000 versus this guy? No, I got a really cool Tesla system on my house. I don't know if it works, but it cost me $100,000. It's going to be a little bit harder on his monthly, even though you can help him. But it's not necessary. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And I like what Rob clarified, that you're right. There's a leak. Then how much more do you have to remove to repair that leak? It becomes more costly.
These guys aren't cheap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unless you got, you won the lottery, so it's all good.
So I was hoping that you could elaborate, because Annette, do you experience this, that sometimes when there is a solar panel or solar panels on the home?
She's an expert too, she's got one on her roof.
Yeah, I know, but do
Come
you
on,
have
Annette.
clients that say, I don't want to take over a lease? Or I don't know. Is it just
I haven't come
that
across that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're in the beginning when all this came out. It's just the knowledge wasn't there for everybody.
Yeah.
People are getting more knowledgeable on it now, and so we know the right questions to ask. Whether it's a lease, do they have to take that over?
Right.
If it's prepaid, you don't have to worry about that because
Exactly.
it's all paid
Like what you
up
did.
front. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yep.
I did.
Basically, they're buying the house and they got prepaid energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when it's prepaid, if you can, enlighten me a little bit on this. If it's prepaid and the panels, the lifespan is what, 20, 25 years?
40.
Well,
40?
up to 40 if you got the
Yeah.
right panel. If you
Yeah.
if you got Solaria or SunPower, that panel's going to continue to produce for quite a long
Okay.
time, at least
Yeah.
30, 40 years.
So if they're prepaid already, you
Yeah.
buy this house with the panels that are prepaid.
Right.
Do you have to deal with the solar panel company at all for anything?
Only
ever?
if there's ever a repair
issue with the
or
panels?
service
Yep.
issue, which is all going to be handled under warranty. But like
Right.
if I bought your house, right? I mean, I'm going to pay whatever she's asking, and I agree on a purchase price. But I've got whatever power those panels are producing for as long as I live there. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. I mean,
So-
that prepaid actually is very attractive to a buyer.
Right. Well, so long as the numbers were right for
Right.
us, we refinanced
Yeah.
and pulled the cash out,
So it's done.
prepaid them up front. So, but if anything goes wrong with the panel,
Yeah.
they're going to come repair it,
Yeah.
and I don't have to worry about
No,
it.
exactly.
Hello.
Exactly.
So
for me, it
tell me
worked.
something, Annette. Now that you're a solar guru, what is your average electric bill?
The average is
Your Edison
probably
territory,
about,
right?
maybe
Edison?
about $45-50.
$45-50.
Yes.
You know what the average electric bill in Southern California is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
400.
During
I'm guessing.
summer,
It's
we were
crazy.
doing like $400 to
I was
$400.
gonna say,
and $10 to $12 of that bill is actually the connection fee. So if you think about it, $30
Yeah.
to have your electricity run your entire house,
Right.
and you
Right.
haven't lived anything differently. You're running your air conditioner. You're doing this other stuff. You want to make that $30 go away? Whole house fan.
Exactly.
No, it is.
exactly.
Are you
It's true.
hearing
It's a
me
very
now?
inexpensive way. to
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
So you're on your path, and that's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is wonderful. We do save a lot.
Do you smile when you open your electric bill?
Well, yeah. I mean, literally, it says like $1.50 or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you pay attention to the
overall.
fourth page,
the
right.
fourth page on
Right.
the
That
back,
generation, right?
that's
Yeah.
really going to tell you exactly what you use. There are
Yeah.
some months where they're actually giving me a credit.
You know,
Right.
if there's
Maybe
a
2 months out
if
of
there's
the
a
year.
negative in front of the dollar sign,
Yeah.
that means they owe you money.
So that's
Yeah.
something we as designers of the systems really are looking at. And we tell people to watch the fourth page. In some cases, it's the third page. But
Right.
that kind of shows you where you're going to be on the true up. The other thing to keep in mind, too, is a product like Solaria, the warranty is for 25 years, but it's manufacturer, in case there's a defect. It's performance, in case it doesn't perform where it's supposed to be, according to their specs.
Right.
And it's also labor. So they pay us to go fix it. When we use products like that, you just don't have to worry. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so that's the thing. That's another reason we choose these products, is they're always going to stand behind you. But it's also just about we find more than not, once we educate a customer and they start realizing the power of it, they make the switch 9 times out of 10, right?
Yep.
The reason we
It's a no-brainer.
The reason we educate more than we try to sell is because once you do the education, informed decision's the best decision. Once they start figuring that out, it starts to become a no-brainer for most customers. 80-85% of people out there should move from their utility, just for the predictability. And on leases, if there's a lease, it can be assigned to a new homeowner. This is one of the things I always talk to you about, Chris. Buy good stuff. Because if I'm going to come by your house and I see a great product on the roof, I got no problem signing on for it. I really don't, because I know it's going to last. In your case, it's prepaid. Right. Beautiful. I got free power when I buy my house? You just lowered my cost of operating that house.
Exactly.
I see it as a win, because that's money that I don't have to pull out, and I could put extra on my mortgage.
Anything.
I mean, that's the biggest
Cover your
thing.
insurances,
Besides,
cover something.
I don't have a $1,000 Range Rover in my front yard. I got a Honda. I got a Toyota. I'm energy efficient. I'm doing the right things. So the money that I save, again, goes in that cookie jar.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, it's Christmas for the mortgage, and they love that. They don't really like it.
Yeah.
But hey, it's good for me, right?
Yeah.
So
But leases
tune up your mortgage at the same time with these energy efficiencies, and why not get a complete, hey, my house has got a good bill of health. Yeah. Pretty cool, right?
Leases do, but overall too, just leases in general, not so much of a problem transferring, because the thing is let's say you don't have a prepaid like you do, but I've got $100 solar bill and my electricity would have cost me $200 to $300. It's still a good deal, right?
Yeah.
You've still lowered my cost of operating that house, so I'm still probably pretty pleased with it. And I don't have a problem with that. And most leases, even if they're in a certain position on a loan, they'll remove themselves and put back for refi and doing things like that. It's normally a phone call. We deal with that all the time.
Some you got to pay off, but that's like anything in this planet, right?
Yeah.
When somebody's doing an energy efficiency thing to their house, they really got to look at the financing seriously. This is why I always point people down to, hey, before we talk about that, what's your current interest rate? What do you got going on here? How many years do you have left? And if I can put you in contact with a friend of ours and get these home improvements done at the same time, and maybe they can help you on the monthly payment side, would you be interested?
Right.
I mean, is that the right question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Of course.
So we're just not cognitive of just slapping solar panels and stuff.
No, of course, yeah.
I mean, the hot spaghetti rule, I use that all the time. I mean, most of these millennials don't even know what time it is. It's
And on the real estate
solar system.
and on the real estate side, with some of the people we work with, sometimes we're handy as just a contractor to come in and fix up somebody's house up before they sell. Like I'm doing with my father's house.
Right.
I could make less, or I could fix it up and sell it for more. Right? Either someone's going to take it from me and have to repair, and they're going to flip it on me, or I'm going to flip it myself. I'm going to do the improvements. Or after they get the house, we get a lot of people, they just moved in and they want solar already. It's a lot easier today than it was years ago to anticipate how big that size needs to be. Some people used to say, I got to wait a year. No, not anymore. You used to have to do that. But we can estimate from the house size what you have. We could do load justifications and figure out how many panels you need. But so on both sides, whether it's you're trying to get it ready for market, or you bought it and you're trying to do some fix-ups, we can come in and help them on both sides.
Well, that's good. In a sense, you're an energy doctor.
What do they call us? The solar doctors.
No, and I think
you
that
come in and you evaluate. I like the fact that you do take all the other energy.
I have a stethoscope that I bring down every
no,
appointment.
and that's the thing, because I've been with others like pure solar companies, including SunPower, which is amazing. But nobody really walks in there to look at the holistic issue. They don't. They're trying to say, well, you know what? You could have done these things, but we'll just throw more panels at it. And that's what most of them do. But I go,
move.
If I go ahead and I insulate that and I throw a whole house fan in, I can cut 20-30% out of your solar size and run it all together, and it's going to cost you less. That's what I like about it here. We're really looking at...
Yeah, well, that's a smarter way to approach it.
Yeah.
Because they also are going to trust that you are there to really improve their energy levels at all levels, not just the panels.
We're an advisor.
Yeah, I tell customers every day, look, I won't put anything in your home or on your roof I won't put on my own parents. And I'm going to treat your pocketbook like it's my own. We're trying to give them the biggest bang for their buck, and we're trying to save them money and also increase value at the same time. That's a great combo.
I've even walked away sometimes knowing that I pointed them at a good financial partner to start there versus just selling them a bunch of stuff they really don't need. If they can't give me enough time to where I can really kind of dissect how their energy usage is, it's really not a good opportunity, because if they don't care, I'm not going to care anymore. But the other guy coming in doesn't care anyways. So the first place I like to tell people when we start this stuff is, listen, before we do anything, even though this is a solar appointment, we're not here to sell you anything. We're here to evaluate what's going wrong.
Right.
Because I'm here because something's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like when we go to the doctor. Like right now, I got a pain in my right arm, right? I'm going to put some Bengay on it. I have a solution for that, right? But so if you don't know the solutions, you make mistakes. Yeah. And that's where people what they're doing.
Well, I think it's the same in the real estate industry. I mean, I always tell a buyer, if they come up to me first, and they are interested in buying, I ask, have you been pre-approved?
Get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way, because it's going to save you time. It's going to save me time. There's no point in me showing you a house you fall in love with and then you don't qualify.
Exactly.
So let's get the first steps out of the way. We know where you stand.
That's smart.
Then we can shop wiser for the house that is going to fit your needs the best.
And we kind of do the same thing, right? I mean,
they could even, when they do the pre-approval, pull out a little bit. They're thinking about what a kitchen cabinet replacement might cost, maybe 20, 30 grand for a solar system, and you can incorporate in the pre-approval, right?
Well, there's construction loans that they can qualify for.
Okay.
But it'd be better if they just go ahead and buy a house that's already done. It's all smart,
right?
Smart home, right? And it's green.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I have Google turning on and off my lights now. I'm lazy.
I love that commercial where they're asking the smart I don't know if it's Google or which little smart thing they're
Smart
asking.
Hub.
Yes, they're asking it to play something and they're not listening. They're getting frustrated with it. So it could work both ways, but no, I hear you.
My mother-in-law loves Google. She's she's by herself in this massive house, and her best friend is now Google Home.
Isn't that something?
She goes, play me some mariachi music, and there she goes.
So he's on Google, I'm on Apple, and I told a story of about a month or two ago where Siri was saying too many things to me, and I told her, I said, Siri, can you just turn off for a moment? And she responded, I'm sorry, Robert, I do not sleep.
Oh, that's funny.
And I thought that was fantastic. She
said,
I'm always here for you. And I go, okay, I just need you to be quiet at the moment.
You got to be careful. We used to have Alexa.
Yeah. Yes.
And Alexa started laughing out of
that got a little weird.
No.
Exactly. No, yeah, it
We're
did.
like, whoa.
You didn't see, that was
that?
weird.
Yes.
That was very odd.
That'll get your attention real quick,
I think we approach things a lot the same, though, because even in whatever we're doing in solar, we're trying to qualify them. We're trying to, first of all, see if it's a match. Is this a good match for
important.
you? I mean, you come up and you tell me you got a $50 a month bill. It's not a match.
Exactly.
I'm trying to save you money. And when I walk in, I ask people, tell me the top 3 reasons I'm in your home. I'm going to fill the first one in. It's called you want to save money. Tell me the other 2. And then we work towards seeing if we can achieve those things. If we can't, we're not gonna do anything.
Good.
We'll advise you that you're okay as you are, at least for so much time. But if we can solve those other things, but I think right now, to me, even when I'm probably looking at buying a house in the next year or so. I have some investment property ideas though that I want to get involved with first and have the profit from that buy my home. But the 2 things I'm putting on my home is solar and atmospheric water. I'm going to put the 2 panels and have my 600 bottles of water coming through that, where I've got that every month. I've got my power. I've got my water. Zombie apocalypse happens. The San Andreas Fault decides to shake, and everyone's knifing everybody in the parking lot of Costco to get a case of water. I'm going to be saying, no, my water comes from the sun. My energy's coming from the sun. I'm okay. I got some canned food, and I didn't forget my can opener, so I'm good, right?
All you need is a good home loan to get that done, right?
There you go.
And we know we're going to go.
And it's getting more cost-effective to do both. Like, the water's not really that expensive.
Think about it. I tell this to my daughters all the time. One of them's 31 and the other one's 26, right? And they're both geniuses. But can the average kid working at a 9-to-5 job, making decent money, even $25 an hour, it's hard to buy a house.
It is.
They're waiting for me to die so they can bury me in the backyard and then move on. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, wait a second here. How are these kids going to do all this stuff? So they got to build their credit up. They got to get.
Do you know how? Well,
Wait for me to die. I know.
No,
I get it.
no. More and more millennials are moving home with their parents. So what you're having is houses with more people. When you got houses with more people, guess what they have? Bigger electricity bills. How many times have we gone to a house? I was in a house not long ago, and there were 3 or 4 people. And as I'm having my consultation, I see 3 or 4 more people. And I asked, by the way, how many people live in the house? Oh, 7.
Yeah, that's very common right now.
Very common.
Kids are always moving back home right now.
1,200 square foot home.
Yes, exactly. But very common. But that takes the price of just occupying that house. And it's fine, and it's sad that that's where the economics are going, where kids are moving back at home, and hopefully they have nice parents that let them, right? But it does drive up their cost, and again, solar is just one of those things that can go. We've also noticed that people that have rental properties, or rental properties where maybe they're providing, like even this building we're in.
What about a garage conversion home?
Well, yeah,
is that hard to refinance? Have you heard of those yet?
I haven't
Where the
come
guy's
across
taking
that.
their garage.
Oh, you mean the ADU?
ADUs.
Additional dwelling
Yeah.
units.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
Chris doesn't like these.
I'm jaded.
Well, LA County, they're big on that, especially
Yeah.
in LA City.
Yes.
San
they're
Bernardino
approved, yeah.
County.
But
They're
that's
doing
a-
it too now, I
No,
heard. No?
will red flag your home and charge you $1,000 a day for doing it.
I heard they're going to make some changes, though.
Definitely
Because
make
of
they
the-
might.
I think they're going to have to, because of just what we're talking about.
Lack of
affordability.
inventory.
We're
of-
seeing
of living.
economics and people moving
Exactly.
home, and it's.
I mean,
tough.
I'm okay with it, but when you
If it's
sell
done
it,
right.
But when you sell it,
How many?
is that also an issue?
I don't. If it's done
If
right
it's
and
done
it's
right.
As
permitted,
long as it's permitted.
it's going to be
Permitted.
awesome. Especially
So I can kick my kid out to the garage?
Chris, you said the P word.
I know.
Please
Permitted.
don't do any work around your house unless
Permitted.
it's permitted and being
Absolutely.
done by a qualified,
You guys have seen
licensed
stuff
contractor.
that wasn't
please.
permitted,
Yes,
right?
because if
Yes.
it's not, it can cause problems.
Absolutely.
Even in the refinance part? Really?
Well,
Yeah,
on purchasing.
Well, what happens is if it's not permitted, they can't give any value to it.
Oh.
So what good is that?
So it's just not the permit issue.
No, and then if there's a city that requires the home inspection to be done prior to the sale,
Right.
Those
they're
things
going to
come out?
come in and say, this wasn't permitted, where's our money?
Yeah.
exactly.
Does that devalue the house, maybe?
Not necessarily devalue, but it causes a little more.
They don't get as much money as they wanted.
But
Yeah.
you know, Chris, from some of ours, if we walked in and there was a major non-permitted issue, we have to walk.
I look at stuff.
We
Okay.
You know why? Because if I pull a permit to do like a new roof,
Yeah.
and this guy's got 2 roof lines that are like a foot apart, I
Yeah.
know that second structure's not been permitted.
Right. We
And
don't.
if I pull my permit cannot get closed until that structure comes down.
Correct.
And
makes
that
sense.
rips
Yeah,
me
absolutely.
up.
Yeah, so
I'm like,
so some cities,
Like,
some
no
cities,
thanks.
some cities will be nice enough to just say you should have gotten a permit, so we're going to make you get the permit now.
Right.
Some can say no, we're going to make you bring it up to code, and the third option is no, we can ask you to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in with this
Yeah.
one customer, and I brought that question up. His house looked fine because we're always looking for little
Yeah,
signs,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they said no, I do have some unpermitted work, and I said what? He said, oh, the rooms we're sitting in. I'm like, this whole house part? He goes, yeah, a third of the house was unpermitted. I just did it.
like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
And
It's a pleasure knowing you. Have a great day.
I shook his hand and said, I can't help you because my thing also is I could bring him to harm's way if I pull a permit.
Yes,
I'm
because
not
then the
gonna-
city will come out and
Opens
take a look,
it.
Yeah,
and then
they're going to look at the
worms
they're going to look
and
at
say,
the
hey,
roof.
wait a
I'm-
minute.
They're going to look at the roof I'm putting solar on and go, no plan, show that roof exists.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
wrong
exactly.
move.
Yes,
So
so
people-
permits are key, I think,
Permits
in
are
both
key,
industries.
and if you're out there and there's a contractor telling you that I could do this without a permit, please walk away from that person.
Yeah.
The majority of any construction
Report 'em.
requires a permit. If we're doing electrical, plumbing, anything that requires a permit, please make sure you get one. It's in our price. We pull the permits. It's in our price.
Right.
We manage it, but please do it. Otherwise, for you guys too, you can get yourselves in trouble. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like Annette
yeah.
was saying, some cities, in fact, I was prepared. I have the list of the cities
Look
that
at
require
you.
Look at that.
pre-sale
Ah.
inspections.
Really?
There you
Yes,
go.
there's 33 cities in LA County that require
No kidding.
sale inspection.
Wow, there you go.
So Azusa is one of them.
Does
we just
the-
had 2 deals in Azusa.
Does the
and-
homeowner have to pay for that?
Yes.
Yes.
What
they
does
have
that?
to.
What does that normally cost a homeowner?
It varies by city, but I can give you an example. In Azusa,
Yeah.
it was $200.
Okay, not
Okay.
bad.
Okay.
So
and
that's
we
a home
as
inspection?
agents to do business in Azusa have to pull our own license to be able to sell in Azusa.
Right.
Seriously.
So,
Wow.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and that's on top of our regular board of realtor license. So,
Right.
but yes, the important thing I think that wouldn't you say, Annette, that as soon as a homeowner wants to sell their house,
Yep. Go to the
city right away.
Request the
because
inspection.
There you go. Right.
Sometimes they take,
That way you know.
Yeah,
That way you
they
know.
take exactly, and sometimes I would say I think so, and you can elaborate on that. Once you have that city inspection, it's good for the seller to take a look at it and reevaluate what he can do up front. If
Sure.
not, education is key. Put that city
Exactly.
report, part of the disclosures, out for the new buyer to see what it is that city's requiring. Also, is disclosed if things were permitted or not. At that time, you deal with
Wow.
it then. There's a lot
Right.
that comes out of that.
Right.
report.
And
That's
they,
nice.
They may and may not require you to do that work, but at least we're giving them that
They're aware of it.
information and they're
Exactly.
aware
Well,
of it.
that's kind of neat because maybe it's unsafe, right?
Well,
we're helping them out.
awareness and
Could be.
information. I mean, you always want to gather it up
Disclosure
front.
is key in our industry.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
disclose,
So,
disclose.
is that brand new?
Exactly.
What that
This-
just came out?
Yeah.
Well, the list is, updated at any time. I just printed
just
the
pulled
list
it,
up, but
yeah.
there's
Okay.
always been pre-sale
Ah.
inspections depending on the city you live in.
See, I
Closest
did,
to us would be Azusa.
Azusa, right?
What would it be? San Marino?
Does Fontana have one?
That's Riverside or San
Yeah.
Bernardino
That's
County?
San Bernardino
County.
County.
No.
LA
I don't
County
believe
is,
they do.
I think the further west you go, the more
Gotcha.
cities.
Yeah.
Pasadena is one. You mentioned
Yep.
Pasadena,
I lived
right?
in Pasadena for
Oh,
many
yeah.
years.
Pasadena, yes.
They were very strict on everything.
So
Yeah.
they don't do a
Monterey
pre-home
Park.
inspection in Fontana?
I didn't see Fontana here.
I don't believe
On the
so.
list, no?
I would
no,
be-
I've sold in Fontana. There's
I
no.
would be a really bad, well, not bad person, but I would be a real bad guy to be one of those home inspectors. I'd be,
You would
man,
just dice it all up?
I would, being a contractor, right? I'd be like, nope, nope, nope,
You know what?
nope, nope.
My husband always tells me I'm the worst inspector ever because I go in there and pick everything apart.
You know, well, and coming from architecture, we do too. Like even one of our coworkers showed me a plan, and I just went and looked at it, and in 5 minutes I said, "Nope, ADA won't work there, won't work there, won't work there. You don't have the egress, you don't have the proper." You know what I hate though about these cities? Like I lived in Pasadena for years, and their tree on which I loved. Okay, I'm on a tree-lined street. It's beautiful. It's canopied, right? But their tree continued to plug my clay main.
Oh,
main
boy.
And you know what they would tell me? Well, that's your problem. I go, no,
Oh,
it's,
yeah, it's
it's your
always our-
tree.
the
And I said, no,
homeowner's
hold
problem.
on now. It's $12,000 to fix this. And said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you get rid of the problem, the tree? He said, no, you can't cut it down. It's our tree and it's protected. And I go, yeah, but it's costing me money. And they said, you know what they told me? Tough luck, you bought in Pasadena.
Exactly.
They were not even nice. Not even
Your
nice about
easement
it.
is
There's a price to
XYZ.
pay.
There's a
Right.
price to pay. So, and I found an ethical plumber who turbojetted the heck out of that, threw some Rudex down it, and never had a problem for years and didn't have
There
to
you
pay the
go.
big cost. Again, that's kind of like what we are. We're, find the ethical people to do work with. Part of our podcast is to try to help people find who not to do work with.
That's right.
There are a lot of people, unfortunately, being taken advantage of. We see it all the time. It breaks our hearts because a
Right.
little more research and just getting down to people that, if I look out after your house and your family like it's my own, you're going to know I'm going to do you well. But we see so many things out there. It's right.
Yeah,
I-
we do too.
yeah.
You do too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's really sad because it's just like I like to sleep at night.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
Just do the right by people, and you get to sleep at night.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's really important. And we see oh my God, the stories I'm sure you have, but we have some stories that just boggle our minds how anybody could design something like they did or tap somebody's credit card for $26,000 and not tell them. I mean, just the unethical practices out there. Find a good contractor, find a good realtor, and then trust them once you do.
Right.
And it's
Go the extra mile.
Right. That's our whole mission. Clients always come first. I mean, that's the way
100%.
I live by.
100%.
They have
Absolutely.
to come first.
You know,
Their needs
Sometimes when
have
they
to
ask
be-
me, well, why won't you do an LG panel or a Panasonic panel on my roof? I hear about those. I go, because I wouldn't put it on mine. I wouldn't put it on my parents.
Correct.
That's what I put on. Do you want what I would do on my own family? Well, yeah. Okay, then because Google's wonderful, but it's a double-edged sword. It's allowed people to really do a lot of research, which is great because they've informed themselves. But at some point, we notice they get to the point where they think they know more than the person that's done it for 30 years. You're never going to know that. Because as much as you can Google, you don't know the insides of the market space like we do. And at some point, once you get to, you got to trust the people you're with to, like us, to go ahead and say, no, this is what we're putting on. And trust me, you're never going to call me unless you need another service. But this thing's going to always work.
I kind of like like the information Patricia gave me, that 110R. I may be coming to see you, young lady.
Well,
That's
I can
good
direct
stuff.
you. I'm not the lender myself, but I can definitely.
Knowledge is power, though, right?
Yes.
I mean, just like Rob said, at the end of the day, I try to do the best job that I can. I go the extra mile. I sacrifice. And then when I lay my head down, at least I can say I was a decent person to somebody.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm not going to cut my throat for somebody ever. I'd rather tell them no.
I think we always ask ourselves a simple question: how would we like to be treated?
Yes,
exactly.
What information would we like someone to give us? And if you just keep doing that every day, because when I come across somebody that whether it's telling me something, but they've done a really great job, I'm like, thank you. You did what I needed.
That's why God made referrals, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Greatest compliment.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that is
what
the greatest
everybody needs to
compliment.
remember, too, is that not every program works for a specific person.
Right.
So our job is to find the best program for them that's going to fit their needs.
What's the best fit?
Exactly.
That was a great statement right there,
That's
wasn't it?
exactly what we
Isn't
always
that-
do,
isn't
right?
that what the
Because we have so many people come up, and their famous statement is when they hear we do solar, is they go, "Hey, Rob, can you tell me on average how much does a system cost?" And I go, "No, I can't on average." I've had people with 4,000 square foot homes have a $300 bill. I got a guy with a 1,500 square foot home that gets $700 bill in the middle of summer. There is no standard. What I can tell you is I will give you the fairest deal for you, but I need to have your data. When I have your information, I can make it specifically to you and tell you why. And by the way, if you have a big bill with that small of a house, we've got other things to look at because something's making it go awry. I still remember that guy. I was outside. He's like, "What are you looking for?" I said, "Your neighbor's line. He must be plugged into you." I said, "How many houses are plugged into you right now?" But
That's funny.
but it's that thing. But it's really important that we, everybody's unique.
Right.
Every house is unique. So take the time. Not like a lot of these companies out there, which we have problems with. They go in, they got 30 minutes to try to sell somebody, and that's not enough to figure out what serves them best. It's
I'm not in the sales business. I'm in the service business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
my ears perk up when somebody's talking to me about refi because I get a little light bulb that comes on and I know exactly who I'm going to send that to.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not actually out there to just throw something in the wind
No.
and see if it sticks, because
right.
at the end of the day, I don't want to be like everybody else that's out there just doing that.
No.
I have a conscience.
Right,
Yeah.
and we're in a service industry.
Totally.
So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's the satisfied customer.
And doesn't that make you feel amazing when you've got that satisfied customer?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's when the reviews come in.
We've done this business
Yeah,
for
there you
how
go.
many years, right? I don't know how, like decades, right? And do we still get excited when we did a darn good job?
Totally.
Absolutely.
And the customer calls us back where they send us their bill for the next month and it's negative $23 or something. We're looking at it going,
Woo woo.
right.
we did it right. We still get excited about that.
Of course.
Like we're so used to the work we do. It's we still get excited, but we're excited about the victories. Every single customer.
I like
gives
that.
us.
Victories.
It is.
That's
It's
good.
like
Yep.
when we look at that and they got a negative bill, I'm like, damn, we did that good.
So at the end of the day, Quality Home Realty, you guys can do the 110 arm, you called it, right?
Well, we don't do the financing.
No, but
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
you can
could,
direct
yeah.
them in the
You
right
can direct them,
location.
absolutely.
So what do you got? What is your sincere specialty besides everything? So kind of tell everybody.
Residential.
Is really, really good.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a big market for you guys, right?
It is. It is. I mean, there's so many different avenues for that also, but we try to help each client specifically.
Right.
You know, some people might need to do a short sale. Somebody,
Right. Right.
might have to go through probate.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of different issues.
Probate can be expensive if they don't do it right?
Correct.
And how's the
it
market?
could
How's
take
the
a long
market right
time.
now? Are we got more sellers than buyers? What do we got right now? What's the mix?
Would you say it's
Okay.
prices of homes are definitely up.
They are
They
up.
continue.
Over the last 6 months or so, I would say, I keep telling my agents that I'm watching the market, and what I am seeing is more homes are going away than that are coming out. So we're starting to come to a shortage again.
Inventory
is low again.
There you go.
So yeah, and that's
so
been
prices
happening.
are going to stay pretty high until that switches.
Yeah, for the forecast, they're talking about prices maybe dropping just a teeny bit. Right now, we're in a very, very strong economy.
But no major market correction yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they say it's coming.
Right.
Maybe the next year or two.
But if your supply is low, that's kind of pushing it off.
Exactly. But it's not going to be a bigger drop is what they're saying.
Oh, good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, real estate's always, even when it's dropped, even if it tanked for a year or two or three, a 10-year over 10-year, it's always been.
You can't lose.
It's the thing that keeps giving, right?
It's the sure
Right,
bet.
well,
Safest.
Yeah, it's just
investment.
safe.
Safest
The biggest-
investment. I like that.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
safest.
yeah,
The
yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
investment to
I
make.
keep telling the city of Fontana, hopefully they'll build one of those temples.
Oh.
That's 5. I'm in the 5 mile range.
There you go.
So I'm going to put a roof that goes east or a door that goes east, and I'm just
Well, if we've talked about if our big deal closes here, I want to start getting into senior housing.
Yeah.
Which my father is now into. First of all, it's a really great investment, but the dignity my father's found in this place, because we used to have him with my brother, but he just got a little too much for my brother who's 69 to lift him and things like that. He loves this place. He's taken care of really well. It's a great way to, obviously there's a profit stream there. It buys your real estate for you and things like that.
Right.
But the dignity we're able to give older people
That's the key.
is a huge thing. Like my father, the last doctor visit we had was the doctor visit where they say he's not going to thrive. He got down to 103 pounds, 6 months to 12 months, and he's 95.
Wow.
All
That's
right?
a long life.
He's been at this place for a month, and he's 118. He's gained 15
Quality of
pounds.
life.
He's
Wow.
thriving.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, you know what?
He's
It'd be-
walking
And that's
5
the
times a
important
day,
thing.
which he wasn't.
Right.
He was in a wheelchair, went to a walker, and now he can kind of get back to a cane now and then. So
Wow.
it's just that attention. And when you look at that, I'd
Exactly.
like to invest in those places that invest in
Absolutely.
people.
You know
So
what?
I will be, when that closes, we'll be talking, because I'd like to start with 1, 2, and start doing some stuff
Exactly.
for these families.
Another great investment for that building would
Yeah.
be to do a nice solar system, and then look at their financial picture.
Do you know what the funny
so
thing
they
is?
get that for almost free if they have a high interest rate.
And
right?
I told you the funny thing about that.
Yeah.
My 95-year-old father said, "Give me your business card," and he already talked to the owner. It's family run.
Yeah.
The husband and wife, this is their third home. The brother has like 8, and this could though lower their cost of operation.
I'm going to get you their card, Annette. So if they
Yeah.
call you up
Yeah.
to get the ninth
So it
one.
does it right if you could lower their cost, because these places are on 24 hours a day. Sometimes
Sure.
there's
Right.
medical equipment.
Right.
Absolutely. Where my mom is, there's a hospital we're looking at. Anything we can do to help.
So anything residential,
yeah.
we want to throw your way.
Yeah, I mean, we actually do commercial too, but we specialize in the residential.
Because it's probably simpler, maybe? Easier to
It's
deal
not
with?
actually residential. There's a lot more disclosures, believe it or not.
I look at the solicits you guys here, and I'm almost afraid to get
See,
involved.
when I
because
did
you
architecture,
guys are the experts.
When I did architecture, people said, "Well, why do you do commercial only?" I said, "Because residential has all the same issues, but at least with the bigger paychecks of the commercial, we can absorb the problem." That's what was happening with us
Smart.
in architecture. Yeah,
So you got the probate recommendation that you can do, right? You got all that. You've got the refis that you get. What other type of loans? I mean, again,
Services?
my friend that has a 6.9. I'm going to make him call. I'm going to actually handcuff him and bring him down to you
well,
guys.
you should. Yeah.
So you guys take care of him. So what other services do you guys offer?
Professional, conscientious services that brings our customers back. I mean, we thrive, I would
On
say, in
referral
it on
business.
referral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
You
most
Word
said
of mouth.
you
business.
said short
Word.
sale as well. So if somebody's
Oh,
you want
yeah.
to save their credit, right?
Yeah.
So you might be able to help them out there.
If their home isn't currently worth what they had paid for it, and
Yeah.
their
Right.
loan is higher.
Yeah.
The bank's going to not get all their money back, but people are still doing that. It's not as big as what it was.
Right.
But what I would like to go in and do is evaluate that. Maybe I can help you do, a refi and maybe get you out of the trouble that you're
Harm's
in
way,
right now.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we look at the whole scenario for them and see what is the best way. Because I had one client
I like
who
that.
We knocked on her door. She was in notice of default. It was the second loan. First loan was fine. She had a lot of equity in the home and didn't know what to do. She would have lost the home.
Wow.
Because she didn't know what to do. And then she says, and I have nowhere to go.
Oh, boy.
Well, we found her a place to rent, so she could sell her home because that's what she wanted to do. Saved her all that equity, got her a ton of money. And
Oh, so she actually kept that.
yeah.
Oh, could she have done a refi maybe too if she can afford it?
She wanted to sell. She wanted to sell.
She wanted to sell, but she didn't know where she would go.
Oh, gotcha.
She didn't know what her options were, so I gave her all of the options, and then she chose what she wanted to do.
That's great.
And now she's not homeless, thanks to you.
Correct. It's about
What about
and you found her a place to rent.
Yes,
That's
we did.
crazy cool,
That
man.
goes above and beyond. That's what we like.
Yeah, that's specialties.
Really, yeah.
What about those loan modification guys that got suckered into that? I don't know if it was sucker's the right word. To me, it's kind of like that was an interesting move, right? So what about those guys that got all that other principal put at the end? Didn't they give them like a 5-year timeline?
That's what they're talking about, is where all of that is supposed to be coming to a head now, and people were not going to be able to afford those payments right now.
So they're going to escalate the payments to be a little bit higher.
And that's what they've been talking about for the last year or two.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not here yet, but it's coming?
Well, that's what they're saying. So we're just trying to figure that out. The banks are actually asking for more broker price opinions right now.
Oh, BPOs, yeah.
But I heard that they're actually, instead of selling them, they're actually just going to auction on the court steps right now.
What?
Yeah. So we don't know.
Man.
And a lot of them held on to them and just leased them out. So everybody talks, well, it's time. We're due for this big old market change.
Right.
But so far right now, the economy is strong.
Yeah.
Everything is indicating anything but that.
And if your supply
Gotcha.
is low, it's not gonna
Right.
It's not gonna drive that.
I feel it's definitely
That's why it's
coming.
more of a seller's market.
Yeah.
It's still a seller's market.
Yeah. I feel that
No,
the
I
change
noticed
is
that. Even though
coming,
my
just
father,
like-
my father, when he came to, my mom was a twin. Both twins followed themselves out from New York, drove to California, bought houses across the street from each other.
How funny.
He's so old, he bought his house for $10,000 or $12,000.
Oh, boy.
He's it's a small house, not worth a lot, but it's $500,000 now.
I was
For a
gonna
small
say.
house, which even a year or
That's
so
about the
ago,
average price right now.
a year or so ago, we thought it was $460 we get out of it. So then we decided, well, we're going to throw $20,000 or so into it and try to get the full $5. And even neighbors are around going, "Oh, we'd like to come and look at it. It's probably worth what, $5?" And that's what the consensus is around the market. So it is a seller's market.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
We bought our house originally. I remember when I was a kid, my dad told me, he says, I got this house for $23,000 in Rolling Heights, of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's worth a lot more than that
I was
today,
gonna
right?
say, today,
I think you have a temple 5 miles away.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's. I mean, I think the house that I grew up in, my parents bought it for $18,000.
Wow.
By the time they sold it, I think it was $400,000.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
$400,000.
Yeah.
$400,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So my we're going to be putting my dad's up probably in the next month. I don't know what we're going to do.
You know where you got to go, right,
We should
Rob?
be done in 2 or 3 weeks with construction.
What, if you don't mind asking, what area does he live?
Not the most elaborate city. It's in Baldwin Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
He's
no,
more-
no
he's-
pre-sale
he's-
inspection
he's-
required.
He's more on the side below
You're
the 10,
ahead.
which used to be like LA Corporate. I don't know if they're still calling it that or whatever. We've had 3 neighbors coming over asking about it. So I'm just going to say, well, when I'm going to give you an open house before anyone else. If you guys want to come in and just buy the darn thing, I'm done. This is the price. I said, look,
Right.
I can't. I'm not trying to get more than it's valued at, but also we need to hit what the value is on the market if you want to buy it. There's a few people in the neighborhood that want to have it for their like a child.
Their children.
Hey, it'd be great if my son can come and live here or whatever. And
Absolutely.
it will be moving.
Somebody's won the lottery.
It'll be moving quality because all the cabinets are
Exactly.
done. New granite countertops, new flooring, new paint, everything, bathroom and kitchen's done. But I mean, it's I just figured it's a lot easier. Like for me, if you can have moving quality,
Absolutely.
with our lives so busy, to be able to
Yeah.
say I might want to change that down the road, but I don't have to right now.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like I could come in and everyone's going to say this thing is spotless. That's what we're
Well,
doing.
a buyer will appreciate that. They
Yeah.
can tell
Exactly.
upon walking into a home.
Yeah.
hey, this is nice. They don't even really bother on the price as much because they know they're going to be
We
able
even
to
took
move
the
in
old
and
garage and we
have to do all the work,
drywalled
all
it
the
all out, the
repairs.
Oh, nice.
garage. We're painting the ceiling. Everything's just going to be all nice and clean. And yeah, we're hoping so. We'll see what happens. If no neighbor wants it, I'll be calling you.
Okay, sounds good.
there you go.
You know, I want to thank both of you
Yeah.
for hanging out with us today. I know
Thank
you
you.
got a great service and you're in Upland. Hey, you're right next to us.
Right.
Suite 202. Hello.
qualities.
Even the
Two
name,
qualities
even
next
the
to
name
each other.
matches.
I know,
You know,
right?
Quality Home
Quality and quality.
Realty, Quality Home Improvement.
When you guys moved into the building, I was like, why don't we just merge?
Right.
I can't thank you enough, Annette. Thank you
Well,
so
thank you.
much.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your new place over here in Upland. And
Right.
Patricia, you have a plethora of knowledge. I just can't wait to send good people your way to
Yeah.
get good things done.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
nice to
I'm
have
going to
you right
sleep
next
better.
door.
I know they're going to sleep better. And remember, you don't have to buy all these solar panels and all this junk that most of these home improvement guys want you to do. You want to remember this. Reduce before you produce.
Right.
And what I mean with
Right.
that
That's
is
good. Yeah.
cut down your energy costs with
Yeah.
the cheapest ways you can do it.
And then
put a very small solar system on your roof, something that can be refied or put down to a smaller note or whatever.
Yeah.
And then take that extra money you stick in the cookie jar. You make an extra payment every year.
Well, I may be calling you guys.
Right?
And just do yourself a favor of me. I'm really against the utilities only because they are monopolies. For
profit business,
One of the
Rob.
things I get people saying, well, if I sign something, I got a loan and it's 20 years, or if I did a lease, it's this long. I don't know about a contract. I said, you're already in the worst contract of your life. Because if you don't think you're in a contract, let's call Edison right now and tell them you don't want it anymore and start lighting your candles.
Right.
Right?
It's the worst
But you
return on
entered the
investment.
worst contract in the world because
ROI
your
is bad.
contract says
Yep.
I go up as much as I want whenever I want. I'm going to go up 7% every year. Oh, by the way, next year is going to be a little worse because I'm adding something because the state or the feds allowed me to go ahead and add even more cost to you. It's just there's no predictability to that. I want to know all my predictable costs. Like even in a business, right? If I'm forecasting, I want predictability. I want to know what my costs are. And so I'm really against that, especially when the majority of homeowners and business owners would save by just becoming their own utility. And when we see Edison and companies like that willing to sell you energy that's clean at a higher rate, you could buy solar energy from Edison. They'll charge you about $21 per 100 more.
So you can feel green.
So basically what they're doing is they're saying, we'll charge you more to have clean energy, but you could actually buy it for less. Why would you do that?
Right.
So it's just get knowledge like what you guys give the knowledge out there, get it from somebody credible, and take control of your finance.
Do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Right? For your
Education
friends and family.
is important.
Yeah.
Education's
Yeah.
key. At the bottom of all our proposals, it says knowledge equals power equals savings.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right,
Well,
you-
speaking of savings,
Yeah.
okay. So most people don't know this. It's really hard right now to save. Put money in the bank
For
and
sure.
save.
What is that about saving?
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
curious.
Oh,
Right. A lot of
non-existent.
people don't know what that is anymore.
Yeah.
But if you own a home, use it.
Yeah.
Use it. Be your own bank.
There you go.
Use the money that's in your home, the equity you have, to complete what you need to and what you want to.
Exactly.
Whether it be the improvements or
Don't
whatever
put your money in the
else.
bank.
And the money
Yeah.
left over, use it for your down payment on your next purchase.
Exactly.
Hello,
Invest.
right?
Invest.
Right.
Ah.
Comes
Why
full
not?
circle.
Why
Yeah,
not, right?
be your own bank.
Be your own bank.
Why go get a loan to,
See? That
buy
goes-
another property
that-
when you have equity in your home? Use the equity. Yes, it's a loan, but it's yours.
It's yours.
Yours.
It's like she's using the be
I
your
like
own
that.
bank, like we're saying be your own utility.
I like that.
I don't know if you saw when the CEO of Chase was brought up in front of Congress. He made $20 some odd million in a year, but his secretary is going in the whole $600 a month. So the person,
Only in America,
so the
baby.
senator that was or congresswoman that was giving him heck for that, which she should have, said, "So you made all this money, but your workers." Because she's a single mom, she's got a kid, she's going $600 a month in the hole. What does she do? And then you know what she said? Oh, I guess she gets a loan from you at Chase.
Nice guy, huh?
We do have a lot of income inequality.
Right.
So you got to be smarter now than ever. Use your home. Use anything that could build value, and use that. Be your own utility. Be your own bank. Do as much as you can. Take control of your finance.
Correct.
You have the power to do it. It just takes, maybe like us, maybe not watch a couple of Netflix shows and go ahead and research it and get with the right people. But
Absolutely.
let us
I
help you
agree.
do that.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you for having us.
No,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for your time. And how do they get a hold of you if they want to contact you guys? What do they do?
We'll put it up on our website, but give us the contact.
Yeah, what do you have, a website, and what's up?
Oh, yeah. It's Quality Home Realty.
Is it a .com?
.com.
Okay, qualityhomerealty.com.
.com.
Do they have a phone number they can call?
Yeah, they can call 626-664-8204.
And it's Annette and Patricia, a couple of the team members at this fantastic company in Upland, California.
Yeah.
They will take your finance concerns seriously.
There you go.
And they can hook you up with some really good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank
much.
you so much.
Glad you're our neighbors.
Yeah,
Right?
Hey, Rob, make sure you get that house over to him,
No,
right?
no kidding, right? All right.
My friend, I'm going to give him a call in about 10 minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care out
Bye
there.
now.
All
Okay,
right, bye.
bye.
The Energy Hour was brought to you by
You spend to ensure good health 100, 1,000, a million? For less than 100, you can get a 2-month supply of a VHE Superfood, the revolutionary new health supplement packed with everything you need to look great, feel great, and have renewed energy. Call 618-800-6670. A VHE Superfood, beyond organic. Go to realhealthforyou.com. Total Life Energy in powder, pill, or elixir. Your health. What's it worth to you? Call 618-800-6670 now.
Beauty, efficiency, and power. The only product we know in the solar industry is Solaria. Maximum power. For nearly 25 years, Solaria has set the pace for solar panel performance, efficiency, reliability, quality, and design. Maximum power. Solaria continues to leverage its patented technology, engineering expertise, and sophisticated automation into creating one of the most attractive, energy-efficient solar panels available on the market today. Maximum power. What really defines home solar? How about Solaria? Quality you can trust for your home or business. Solaria is the new benchmark for solar energy. Where do you get this panel for your home or business? Go to QHIinc.com. That's QHIINC.com/Solaria. SOLARIA.
Capture the joyful magic of the holiday season with Virtual Santa. Virtual Santa is a high-definition projection effect that walks, waves, laughs, eats cookies, and puts presents under the tree. From outside, it's so real, you swear Santa's in your house. Virtual Santa, originally seen on ABC's The Great Christmas Light Fight. You can choose from traditional Virtual Santa or new African American Santa. Holiday effects include Virtual Santa, Mrs. Claus, Santa's Workshop with Christmas elves, and so much more. Buy one effect or a bundle. Available in HD DVD, digital download, or USB flash drive. Also available in LED projection bundles. For a winning Christmas display that will delight your neighbors young and old, visit us at virtualsanta.com and become known as the house where Santa lives. Virtual Santa, where holiday spirit begins.
Got latest electric bill? Is it less than last month or last year? Probably not. But if you had a solar system from QHI, it would be. Your electric meter could be running backwards. Right now, get a QHI system installed for no money down, no out-of-pocket expenses. Get an immediate savings on your electric bill. Call 909-609-5437. Solar is all they do. Call QHI 909-609-5437.
Thank you for listening to The Energy Hour. Visit them on the internet by going to QHIinc.com/TEO. That's QHIINC.com/TEO.